Hello and welcome to www.luxurytolast.com. Today we're talking entry-level luxury watches. I get a lot of correspondence from people who are saying, look, I really love your videos, Archie, but I really want to start a small watch collection for myself, and they say to me, what do you recommend I do? And the advice is very, very simple. I got a really good friend of mine, Andrew Tolley, who runs a website, www.timeman.net. And he's a fantastic supplier of vintage watches. I used to actually work for Andrew Tolley a couple of years ago, and I helped set up his internet site, and I had a lot of fun working with him, and it exposed me to a lot of luxury watches. And Andrew's a fantastic man because he's got such a broad scope on watches, and he's got a great knowledge on all watches that are great value for money. And if you go to Andrew and said to him, look, what's the best entry-level watches you could start collecting if you wanted to develop a luxury watch collection, Andrew's advice would be very similar to my advice. And I actually discussed this with him the other day because I've had a few people come to me and say, Paul or Archie, they've said to me, look, I want to start a collection, what do you recommend? And look, the best advice I can give to a person who wants to start a collection is buy something affordable. Don't buy new. Don't go and pay retail. A lot of people, what they do is they go out to a retail store and they'll buy a piece of fucking shit like a quartz watch or a modern incarnation, and that's the worst thing you can do. I'll give you an example. Say, for example, you've got $1,000. You want a luxury watch. You want something that's got cachet. You want something stylish. You want something with a great name. What would you buy for $1,000? Well, I'll tell you. You should buy a Rolex 6694 Rolex Oyster Date. That's right, that's a genuine steel Rolex. It's in an oyster case. It's a manual wind movement. The watch itself has a date feature on it, so it tells you the date. It's just a great watch. And for a little bit more, you can get a 6694 with a metal oyster bracelet. It uses a 19mm bracelet. Now, the Oyster Date, some people say, oh, it's a little bit small. Look, beggars can't be fucking choosers. You got $1,000, you want a great name, you want a great watch, buy a fucking Oyster Date. If you then say, oh, it's too small, it's this and that, well, fucking save some more money and stop being such a fucking girl. The next piece, if you've got a bit more money, say you got about $1,500 to $2,000, I'd be looking at a plastic Datejust. That's my advice. Plastic Datejust, like a 1601 or a 16013 or a 16014. And those are some great watches. Those Datejusts represent, you've got an automatic Rolex movement, you've got a date feature, and it's just an all-time Rolex classic. That's a great piece to buy for under $2,000. Now, obviously, the more money you've got, you're going to get a better piece. When I say better, not necessarily a better brand name, but you're going to get a piece which is more modern. It'll have a sapphire crystal instead of a plastic crystal. Just a few little things like that. So you've really got to work out how much money you want to spend and what's a good piece. Another piece which is great value for money, if you want an all-time classic sports watch under the $2,000 mark, I'd be looking at the Omega Speedmaster Man on the Moon watch. It's fantastic buy. It's a true chronograph, great history. I mean, the watch was used in space by NASA on the first mission to the moon. It's just got history. It's got breeding. It's such a great brand. I mean, for under $2,000, a vintage Speedmaster, that's great buying. Again, Andy at Timeman, www.timeman.net. He can help you source one of those pieces. A variety of bracelets. You can put it on a strap. It looks fantastic on a black leather strap. You can put it onto an Omega 1171 bracelet, or you can put it onto a more modern Speedmaster type bracelet. Your choices are endless, and it'll change the whole effect of the watch. That's a great classic piece. Now, you might say, well, okay, I want a classic dress watch. What would I recommend? Dress watches. Absolute bargains of the century. I mean, you can buy. I recently bought a Vacheron Constantine. It's a reference 6405. Bought it from a dealer. Got it polished. Got it serviced. Put it on a beautiful strap. I also changed the crown. under 2,500 for a Vacheron with a Geneva seal movement. It's an absolute bargain. I mean, that's a buy of a century. And that's not the only dress watch which is a bargain. I also recently bought an Audemars Piguet ultra thin dress watch with the incredible 1.6mm movement. It's the AP 2003 movement, and that was around the $1,500 mark. Okay, it needed a service, it needed a polish, and it needed a nice new leather strap, but I mean, you're talking under $2,000 for a fully running, ultra thin Audemars Piguet. Absolute bargain of the century. Now you might say, well, hey, I'm looking for a ladies' watch. What would I recommend in ladies' watches? Look, there are a lot of good ladies' watches. Again, Andy at Time Man, he's a great source of watches. Just tell him what you want. If for a ladies' watch, if your girlfriend or your wife wants a really good quality watch, I'd be looking at a ladies' Datejust. Can't go past a ladies' Datejust. I'd be looking at an all steel or a two-tone. For an all steel or a two-tone, you'd be finding a plastic one for around about the $2,000 mark. That's on a two-tone or steel bracelet. So that'd be like a 6917 ladies' Datejust. Now that model came as two-tone all steel and also came in solid gold. The solid gold versions, instead of buying the solid gold version, I'd be looking more at getting a sapphire later model Datejust ladies, which would be a 69173 or a 69174. That's what my wife has actually got, a 69174. Those are great buying. The other great brand, if you're looking for a nice ladies watch, I'd be looking at a ladies Santos or a ladies Cartier Panther. I mean, those are great buying. You're looking probably around the $1,000 to $1,600 mark for a Santos or a Panther. I mean, that's just incredible buying. In the retail store, those were $6,000 to $7,000. I mean, that's the bargain of a century. This is global financial crisis times. Things are tough. Times are not what they used to be. Why would you buy a new modern piece of fucking shit when, for the same money, with a good vintage dealer like Andrew Tolley from www.timeman.net, why would you buy a new piece of shit? You can buy such a classic, an iconic piece, a piece that's going to have class, status, it's everything you could possibly want, and buying it from a dealer like Andy, you're going to get a quality piece. I mean, you can say to Andy, look, I want it to be perfect. Andy can service it for you, get it polished, make it look 100% beautiful, and you've got a trouble-free wristwatch. I mean, that's what I'd be doing. Don't be stingy. Don't try and lowball him on the price. Say to him, look, hey, I want it to look nice. I want it serviced. I want it polished. Organise it for me. I'll give you some money for doing that. Don't be an asshole. Be fair. And when you're fair, you'll get a good deal. This is the thing about buying watches. Be fair to your dealer. He'll look after you. I'm not a dealer. I don't get any kickbacks from Andrew for recommending him. I'm just giving advice on the net. And, I mean, look, you certainly, you just make your own mind up. But I'm telling you, don't fucking buy retail. Buy smartly. Buy used from a good dealer. And you'll never, ever lose money. This is the beautiful thing. You can buy a watch, vintage, wear it for a couple of years, look after it, and then you get your money back. I mean, what could be easier and cooler than that? Thanks very much for watching this video, and don't forget to come to my website, www.luxurytolast.com. Thank you.